Welcome to Maison Journals. It's been a few weeks since I've done an update. Work is continuing on the house in France. We've been over there for a couple of weeks visiting, got lots of work done. The builders are still staying there and getting the house completed. Just to recap, we bought the house 2 years ago without actually viewing it. There was an awful lot of work to do that we didn't realise, mainly all of the beams need to be changed, all of the floors, all of the ceilings, and a rewiring, new windows. So that's where we are at the moment. In the next couple of weeks I'm going to do a video of the 2 years where we are now, but just for this week I'm just going to do the details of our trip this time. I hope you enjoy, and if you've got any questions, let me know.
So as soon as we arrive, the first thing to do is cut the grass, which generally takes a day. And after a quick rest, onto the barn had not had any, we cleaned out the barn on the last trip, but there's loads of trees growing around it, there's no air circulating around it, and the plaster is actually starting to fall off inside the barn where the ivy was growing through. So I started to tackle the barn. On the left hand side here, on the plans this was described as an orchard, but nothing has grown there for some time because it's just not been looked after. So I set about cleaning the outside area of the barn. Everything takes so much longer, but a few days later looking much better, and air's able to circulate around the barn. I've also found lots of these rocks around the land. I'm actually collecting them to try and edge the driveway for when we get the gravel. Also, whilst digging, I found this, which is really unusual because my initial is V. Right, the barn is now finished. So I just want to, you see that pillar's all clear. I just need to tidy it up. But I just want to clear all this ivy off this pillar here. That's the next job. With everything takes so long, I kind of think an hour, but it'll probably be the rest of the day, and it's only 12 o'clock. It's really important when doing work on the house to actually get out. We was there 4 or 5 days, didn't step outside, so we took a trip to the local farmers market in Follettin. There's lots of local produce and, surprisingly, a knife stall, which was rather intriguing. So this morning I'm going to sand this worktop. It's put in a few months ago, but it hasn't been treated and it needs treating. So I've got the sander hooked up to the Henry, so minimal dust, and I will carry on. That didn't start too well because both these sanders are broken. They was fine in the UK, I brought them over, I don't know why. But anyway, I have got an orbital one, but it's too, I don't like using it. So this house does give you the occasional gift. I went into the barn, I remember seeing this, a brand new sander. Look at that, with the dust collection box. Came with the house, so I can now crack on. Really pleased with the finish. We didn't want a fitted kitchen. This is the only fitted item we've got. That everything else is going to be freestanding, but really happy with the finish. And this is the product that we used. Really good. I'm actually going to take some of this back to the UK as well. Really good. And after another short break, back to work. So we've had oak floor laid in 5 of the rooms. It's all been laid, but it needed to be treated. The rooms have shrunk slightly because we've had to raise the floor and lower the ceilings. So the job for the next couple of days is they've been sanded lightly, but they need to be cleaned of all the dust and then treated. This room's going to be the gym. So this is the room that I'm going to start on first. So several hours of hoovering just to make sure we can get a really good finish. and you need lots of hoovers. Unfortunately, the original sound on this clip isn't great, but the point that I'm trying to make here is it's an absolute pleasure to be able to sit on the floor in this room. When we first came, there was mice nests, actually no floor, the floor had sunk, and it was just so nice to actually sit on the floor and not worry what was going to crawl out the skirting. But unfortunately the sound wasn't great, so I've had to talk over it. So I've done just a third of the floor. It's going on really nicely. I'll give it 2 coats. And I have to say, this product is amazing. Really, really good finish. So back in the garden, work is dictated by the weather, so depending on how hot or cold it is, we have to kind of switch jobs between inside and outside. But I could see in the forest there was a kind of walkway, but completely grown over, so I started to cut it back, and this is what I found, which is absolutely beautiful. Not sure how old it is. The house was built in 1850, but absolutely beautiful, along this kind of avenue in the forest, and it looks out over the back garden. This was a real find, really quite beautiful, and you can just sit there and listen to the silence and the birds, and then just walking back down towards the house. I will do some more clearing down here, but it was just really lovely to find. And then this leads us back down to the house, and you can just see the wood store there over on the right, and the house is on the left. So that was a really good day's work with a real nice find at the end of it. Sitting in the garden at the end of the day, the cow field is just across the road, and these beautiful cows picking apples from the trees. It was just so wonderful to watch. Better than TV and incredibly therapeutic. I hope you've enjoyed this week, and next time I'll do a 2-year update of the house internally. And thank you for watching.